Good afternoon. I'm starting kind of late today because, well, just because I'm kind of off today, so I figured today's vlog would be dedicated to talking a little bit about me. Just a little bit, not a lot, because I'm really not all that interesting, but I figure we talk a little about my childhood. Not the amusing youth story that I still can't remember, but just my childhood. I grew up in a small town in Indiana called Monon. It is a small town, even smaller now than when I lived there. I mean, it used to have all the accoutrements, a grocery store, a dime store, a hardware store. Now it just has a laundromat, some gas stations, a couple of little chintzy shops that rotate what they are from time to time. One of these days I will go there and we'll take a little tour of Monon. I had a very vivid and active imagination as a child, which probably led to my generalized anxiety disorder, now that I think about it. Doctors, take note. We may be onto something here. I'm going to pause for a minute. Noisy thing. I spent most of my time as a child playing alone. Didn't have a lot of friends. Spent a lot of time on my bicycle as I got older. But as a youngin', mostly I spent my time in the yard, pretending something or another was going on. We lived next to a railroad track, so that was a source of entertainment for me. For some reason I had this obsession with digging holes in the yard. Didn't make my dad real thrilled. I remember one time, and this was not the first house we lived in, it was the first one I remember, which was a little red house, and last I saw it was a little green house now. We were eating dinner and the neighbor came and knocked on the back door, and he said, "I'm sorry to bother you, but your garage is on fire." That's not a bother, that's important. This dude was like really weird. I mean, I had no conception of people like that at my age. But he was gay. He was gay. I have nothing against him before anybody jumps on that one, but I didn't know about that stuff when I was little, and especially not in that time. I mean, it just wasn't talked about really, especially not in that town. The town was very small, very close-knit, very racist. Lord. Like I said, I had a very active imagination. And when there wasn't real drama in my life, I tended to try and make some up. It was always fun. Anything from being wounded to, somebody was chasing me. As I look back on these things now, I wonder what the heck was going on in my little head, but you'll have that. I was a strange child, what can I say? I am standing right now beside the McDonald's. My middle daughter has an interview here. Hopefully she will get the job. She really needs one. again, I went off track and my mind is sidetracked, so I'm going to pause again. Okay, places that I spend a lot of time at. Spent a lot of time at the dime store. I don't know, I was just fascinated with the endlessly bizarre supply of things they had there. But my favorite was the pea shooters. Anybody remember those? Oh, I love my pea shooter. The people who got near me didn't, but I did. And my second favorite place was the park. Just to go down there and hang out. It had a little creek that ran in through it, so I go out back and there's this little trail down to the creek. We catch crawdads, minnows, of which we did nothing with either. As a kid, what was I going to do with them? I didn't even know crawdads were edible then. I'm still not quite sure they are, but some people seem to think so. It is hot in the sun, so we're going to get back in the shade. I don't care what people think about the creeper hanging around in the corner by McDonald's. Pause again, sorry. Another one of my favorite places was the hardware store. Not sure why, but I was also fascinated with all the different things in there. Probably why I liked it when I worked at Menards so much, is I was fascinated with hardware. Yes. Oh, what else? I have these things in my head and then they slip out because something distracts me, and there's so much going on right here. They're doing construction, they're redoing this road behind me, which is probably why this is a horrible friggin' place to do this. And I may have to redo it all, but if I do, that will give me a chance to do it better. Teenage years, still pretty much the same. Vivid imagination. Dangerously vivid imagination at times. Very few friends. Tended to pick friends that my dad didn't like. Can't imagine why. It's all the farther we're going on that one. I had the ability to screech at a very high pitch before my voice changed. And when I say high pitch, I mean the hardware store in town had one of those glass break alarms, and that was basically their alarm system. I mean, if you banged on the window, you could get it to go off. But I could walk by and do this screech and set it off, which endlessly amused me and anyone who happened to be around. It did not amuse the hardware store people very much. I was a teenager, didn't care. High school sucked. Had about 1, 2, 4, 5, 6 maybe friends. I've been a bad friend and I have not kept up with most of them. Some of them have dropped off of the grid, they've dropped off of Facebook and all that, so they made it even more difficult for me to keep in touch since I live 120 some miles away. I don't want to drive 120 miles a lot. Partly because of the Crohn's, partly because I just don't like driving that far unless I have to. The friends that I had, they were all, well, the town was pretty much country. I mean, everybody there was country in their own special way. Of course you had the preppies, but it's just because they had rich families. Why they lived there, I don't know. Or rich for Monon, I should say. Anyway, so you know, when I got older, we did a lot of shooting and camping, blowing things up. Enough said there. I'm pretty sure the statute of limitations has ran out on that one. My friend did build a bomb once and blow something up. Wasn't anything important. Nobody was hurt. and it was the last time we did it. Okay, I'm back home now. I think that's enough about my youth for today. Maybe I will tell more of it at a later time. There's still more stories, both horror stories and fun times. But like I said, we'll save those for a later date. So for now, I'm going to say peace, rock on, see you tomorrow.